The Invincible Season 2 is gearing up for a wild ride, and we all know that the first season set the bar incredibly high, and it left us perched on the edge of our seats. But guess what? The Invincible universe has a knack for delivering the unexpected, and this time around, it's going to be super. Literally. You see, the explosive Season 1 finale left us with more questions than answers, and amidst all the chaos and jaw-dropping cliffhangers, there's one character that's poised to shake things up in a way we never saw coming. Oliver Grayson, aka Kid-Omni-Man, might just be the trump card that Invincible Season 2 needs. Now, you may be asking yourself, Oliver who? He is the son of Omni-Man himself and a Thraxan alien. Oliver also joins the superhero fray alongside his half-brother, Mark. But the question remains, just who is Kid-Omni-Man? And what's the deal with his Thraxan heritage? How does he fit into the larger tale of the Invincible universe? Well, fellas, that's exactly what we're going to unravel in this episode. So, fasten your seatbelts and get ready for an adventure that's both captivating and thrilling. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Oliver Grayson, birth to Earth. Once upon a cosmic cradle, on a world known as Thraxa, a peculiar chapter of the Invincible saga unfolded. Here, in the whirlwind of Nolan Grayson and Andressa's love story, little Oliver made his entrance in the world. Oliver was born with skin as purple as grape jam, and that's because his mama's species and Viltrumites weren't quite the perfect match. Let's throw in a dash of drama. You see, young Oliver's life started with a bang, quite literally. As his world crumbled and chaos ensued, his mother, Andressa, did her best to shield him from the storm, hiding away in a room as Viltrumites stormed in to apprehend his father, Nolan. Then entered Mark, the half-brother who would become his guiding star. In a whirlwind of bravery and adrenaline, Mark whisked Oliver and Andressa to a cave on Thraxa. But alas, luck was not on their side that day, for they soon found themselves in the not-so-welcoming company of Lucan, a Viltrumite warrior. Mark, being the courageous soul he was, did not shy away from a good old hero showdown. With a swift move, he attempted to seize Oliver from Lucan's grasp while the two locked horns. Fast forward a bit, and we find the trio playing an action-packed game of Catch Me If You Can with Lucan hot on their heels. But just when it seemed like curtains for our brave trio, Nolan intervened, pulling off a heroic rescue. After all the heart-pounding skirmishes and daring escapes, Mark finally touched down with his precious cargo, Oliver and Andressa, safely tucked away in a remote cave. But as we know, life in the world of superheroes is never smooth sailing. A month passed, and Mark returned with somber news. Nolan, the once captured hero, had been imprisoned, and Andressa, Oliver's mother, was facing a harrowing truth, her days numbered. So, young Oliver, in all his purple-skinned, wide-eyed wonder, joined Mark on a spaceship as they set out on a journey to Earth that would rewrite their destinies. Earth, Oliver's home, away from home. So, Mark, fresh from his escapades, landed with a heavy heart, eager to share some family news. He rushed to his mother, Debbie, and dropped the bombshell about Oliver, asking her to keep an eye on the young purple prodigy. Now, let me tell you, it wasn't exactly a walk in the park for Debbie, who reluctantly accepted this new role. But just when you thought things might calm down, entered the villain, Angstrom Levy. With a grudge the size of the multiverse against Mark, he snatched Oliver and Debbie, playing a little catch with the kid. Meanwhile, Mark was off on an interdimensional ride, trying to catch up with the Fiend, but Angstrom had him jumping through more portals than a circus clown. After the dust settled and the bad guy met his maker, it was serious business time for Oliver. A fantastic mentor named April Howsam stepped in to help him level up. And let me tell you, that kid was no slouch. In less than a month, he was tackling 4th grade math and 7th grade reading like a pro. April's jaw might have hit the floor, and it's safe to say Oliver was the real deal. Fast forward to a game of catch as Mark returned from Mars, and that's when young Oliver revealed his superpowers were finally making an appearance. But as Mark took on the baddies of the universe, Oliver wanted in on the action. But the fun didn't stop there. As Mark prepped Oliver for some costume-clad combat, they made a pit stop at Art Rosenbaum's place, where Oliver got his very own superhero moniker, and voila, Kid-Omni-Man was born. Oliver's first battle. Mark and Oliver, fresh-faced and eager, were on their very first gig as the city's new guardians. And boy, do they dive in head first. Their mission? Foil a nefarious prison break, because, you know, it's not a typical day without a little crime-fighting action. But hold your horses, because young Oliver, in all his purple-skin zeal, dashed ahead like a kid in a candy store. But surprise, surprise, he ran smack into the electrifying menace known as Kursk. And let me tell you, meeting him was a real shocker. The siblings pulled their wits and might together, and in a dazzling display of teamwork. They managed to send Kursk and his partner packing. Mark, the seasoned superhero of the duo, gave Oliver a pat on the back for making the rookie mistake. Hey, we all stumbled at the starting line, right? But that was just the beginning. Oliver got a call. Turns out there was trouble brewing at a nuclear base. And who's to stop it but Oliver? He squared off against the Mahler twins. And let's just say it was a jaw-dropping experience. In the heat of battle, Oliver unleashed a punch that had the power of a freight train. He had no clue about his own strength. And in the blink of an eye, he accidentally put one of the Mahler twins down for the count. The remaining Mahler, seeing that, offered to surrender. But it seemed Oliver's fists had a mind of their own. And down went the second twin, right there on the battlefield. Oliver's eyes widened in shock at the unintended consequences of his actions. He tried to justify what went down, but it was a tough sell even to himself. That's when Cecil, the man with all the answers, arrived to offer some comfort. Soon, Mark returned from space and was hit with the jaw-dropping news. He was not thrilled, let me tell you. Mark put on his big brother hat and let Oliver have it with a superhero-sized lecture on the value of human life. Oliver, being the stubborn little hero that he was, stood his ground, passionately arguing that sometimes the only way to keep the bad guys from causing more chaos was to send them packing to the great beyond. As the days rolled on, the two siblings had their fair share of squabbles and heated debates, but they patched things up with a heartfelt hug, because at the end of the day, they were family, and they had each other's back, no matter how heated the debates got. Days later, Oliver embarked on his first solo mission, facing off against the menacing Rampage. But when things got too hairy, guess who swooped in for the save? None other than Invincible himself. That should teach the little guy a lesson. Older and wiser, Oliver, the purple-skinned prodigy, found himself face-to-face with an alternate version of his own half-brother, Invincible. But don't expect a picnic. It's an all-out brawl. Oliver was not faring too well. He took a beating and sustained some moderate injuries. And if that weren't enough, a jaunt through dimensions landed them right in the path of the nefarious Angstrom Levy. Oliver, ever the pragmatic thinker, suggested that Mark just get rid of the villain once and for all. Mark was ready to do the deed, but Angstrom pulled a Houdini, leaving a piece of himself behind. Oliver didn't let his injuries slow him down, though. He lent a hand in cleaning up the mess left behind by the alternate Invincible, proving that even in the face of adversity, he was ready to roll up his sleeves and pitch in. But soon arrived Conquest on the horizon, and it was Mark's turn to take the stage. When Oliver caught wind of this epic showdown on the news, he darted fast to help his brother. He's like a purple streak, but perhaps a little too eager. In the heat of the battle, Mark had to knock some sense into Oliver and keep him out of harm's way. But our pint-sized powerhouse wasn't one to be sidelined easily. He charged back in, only to get his arm broken in a taste of the superhero smackdown of a lifetime. With Oliver nearly beaten to a pulp, it was off to the Pentagon for some well-deserved R&R. The poor kid needed a break after that epic showdown. Now, fast forward to a much older, wiser Oliver, sporting a slick new costume. He's ready for a fresh start and a taste of the superhero life on his terms. Mark, now running his own private security firm, Invincible Incorporated, invites Oliver to join the ranks and lend a hand. And just when you thought the family drama was over, Oliver reunites with his estranged father, Nolan, who's looking to assemble a team to take on the mighty Viltrumites. Oliver's itching to join the action, but Mark insists he stay behind to protect Earth. A touching father-son chat with Nolan convinces him otherwise, and Oliver's ready to dive headfirst into the Viltrumite War. Viltrumite War, a final nail in the coffin. The story begins with the coalition of planet allies en route to the planet Telescria. But in swoop conquest, the villainous Viltrumite warrior and their ship get obliterated in no time. And as if that weren't bad enough, it's a Viltrumite double whammy with the arrival of Conquest's pal, Lucan, and another winged warrior. Now enter Oliver, the eager young protege, charging forward like Iron Man on Red Bull. But Conquest isn't playing games. He gives Oliver a taste of a backhand that'd make Thanos proud. Lucan, another Viltrumite with an appetite for destruction, steps in and Oliver finds himself in a bit of a pickle. It's a classic hero underdog story until, ta-da, Nolan, Daddy Omni-Man, swoops in to save the day. Oliver, with newfound determination, lands a punch on Lucan, but with his interstellar resume being a little lacking, he decides to make a pit stop on a nearby habitable planet. But back to the action. Conquest is still in hot pursuit. Mark, our invincible hero, charges in like a Star-Lord with rocket boots, putting a stop to Conquest's rampage. Oliver, seeing a flare in the sky, rushes back into the fray only to witness a space showdown. In a twist, Oliver stumbles upon Conquest's lifeless body, and Mark, looking like he'd win a few rounds with the villain. The Grayson boys spend some quality bonding time on that habitable planet as Mark recovers from his cosmic beatdown. But after Mark's back in action, they zip over to Telescria to join the battle effort. The brothers hop on a Viltrumite warship, forcing the Viltrumites to make a hasty retreat, but they toss the ship into the void. As the battle rages on, Thaddeus leads the charge with an entourage of heavyweights, including Battle Beast, Space Racer, Tech Jack, and Alan, the alien. They descend upon the planet Viltrum like an in-game style showdown. But Viltrumites aren't just going to sit there twiddling their cosmic thumbs. A Viltrumite woman springs out of the shadows to ambush them, but Battle Beast, armed with his mace, dishes out a galaxy-shaking smackdown, and the brawl is officially on. Oliver gets in on the action, delivering a low blow to one of the Viltrumites. It's like a WWE-style smackdown in space, complete with body slams and power moves. But the fun is short-lived as he heads straight for Thrag, one of the big bads. Thrag, being the buzzkill he is, catches Oliver's punch like he's catching a frisbee. He doesn't just stop there. He goes full Edward Scissorhands, dismembering Oliver's arm and breaking his jaw. But the Coalition comes to the rescue, transporting Oliver to a Telescria hospital. They throw in a cybernetic jaw and arm for good measure, then plop him into a stasis tank to supercharge his healing. Oliver's powers, Viltrumite or Thraxan. You see, Oliver's got quite the family heritage. He's a Thraxan-Viltrumite hybrid, which means he's got a mishmash of superpowers at his disposal. Thanks to his Thraxan roots, he's got a handy knack for learning faster than you can say. Beam me up, Scotty. His purple skin, a memento from his less than compatible genes with the Viltrumites, isn't holding him back. But what sets Oliver apart is his dominant genetics, largely influenced by those Viltrumite genes. That's why he looks more humanoid than insectoid, and his purple skin gets creamier with age. Now, the cool thing about Oliver is that he's like the James Bond of learning. He can soak up knowledge like a sponge, instantly grasping the mechanics behind any problem that comes his way. He's also got a photographic memory, and if he learned it, you can bet your Batmobile he's not forgetting it. From languages to complex theories, with this power, he could probably learn how to build a Death Star or decipher Yoda's cryptic advice in just a few hours. Next up, we've got superhuman strength, courtesy of his Viltrumite genes again. Now, we don't have a ruler long enough to measure his upper limits, but let's just say he could bench press a skyscraper without breaking a sweat. He's so strong that he made quick work of the Mauler twins, and that's not even his final form. Oliver's got more in his toolkit. His superhuman endurance and stamina are off the charts, like having an Energizer Bunny in his DNA. He can go on, fighting the forces of evil without a break. And speaking of speed, Oliver's got that too. We're not sure if he's as fast as the Flash. I am pretty sure he's not, but he's definitely got the zoom factor. His senses are so sharp that he can practically see the future, all while moving faster than a speeding bullet. Now, let's talk about the big one, invulnerability. Thanks to his unique molecular structure, Oliver might as well be made of adamantium. Not literally. He's practically a walking fortress, immune to physical harm and pain. But that's still not all. Oliver's got a nifty healing factor. He can bounce back from injuries faster than you can imagine. Broken jaw, dismembered arm, no problem. A few weeks, and he's good as new. And just to add to his resume, Oliver is like the MacGyver of survival. He can thrive in any environment, from the vacuum of space to the depths of the ocean. He's also got an extended lung capacity that's the envy of Aquaman. He can hold his breath for weeks, which is handy when you're battling undersea villains or exploring the mysteries of the deep. And we've saved the best one for last. Oliver's aging process is about as predictable as a twist in a Christopher Nolan movie. Thanks to his unique family heritage, he's like a walking calendar that's always got the dates mixed up. Now, Thraxans, they're a bit like mayflies in the grand scheme of things, with lifespans that clock in at a mere 9 months. It's like they've got a VIP ticket to the express lane of existence. On the other hand, Viltrumites could give gods a run for their money, living for thousands of years. And where does Oliver fit into all of this temporal madness? Well, let's just say his aging process is even more unpredictable than Deadpool's punchlines. At just 2 months old, he looked like a human toddler of 2 years. A few weeks later, he'd aged into a 5-year-old. And by the time he was ready to take on the Viltrumite War, he already had the appearance of a teenager, as if he'd been binge-watching puberty tutorials on YouTube. After spending 10 months away from Earth, Oliver had gone full adult mode, leaving behind the awkward teenage years in the rearview mirror. Fast forward to another 6 months of cosmic adventures, and Oliver's got the appearance of a full-grown adult male, with a striking resemblance to his big bro Mark. It's like he went from Baby Yoda to Obi-Wan Kenobi in a blink of an eye. And if that weren't enough, 5 years down the road, Oliver's starting to look like a full-fledged Viltrumite male, with all the muscles and swagger to match. Now, his aging cycle may be like a roller coaster, but thanks to his Viltrumite DNA, his aging starts to decelerate. It's so slow that even his dad Nolan speculates that Oliver could be kicking it for centuries, if not thousands of years, all while staying in his prime. Marvelous verdict. The origins of Oliver Grayson provide a fascinating backdrop to the evolving narrative of the Invincible universe. His very existence, mixed with the aftermath of Omni-Man's Season 1 upheaval, adds layers of complexity to the storyline. With Omni-Man's departure from Earth, leaving behind a world in turmoil, one can't help but wonder about his intergalactic escapades. His mysterious travels through the cosmos offer possibilities, including encounters with otherworldly beings and even relationships with alien species. The intriguing prospect of Omni-Man's liaison with the Thraxan adds a speculative dimension to the story, potentially explaining Oliver's presence in Invincible Season 2. As the saga of Oliver Grayson continues to unfold, it showcases the dynamic and ever-evolving nature of the comic book world. With its blend of intrigue and drama, the story of Oliver Grayson leaves us eagerly anticipating what lies ahead in the Invincible universe. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.